Hello, beautiful watchers. Welcome to part number 3 of our 211 special. The last couple of episodes have been really focusing more on concept and theory. Today we're going to be talking about technique. This is going to be a little middle of the road, maybe edging slightly towards an economic style, same as our last video. However, this is going to cover more of the techniques and tactics you would be using in your own games, as opposed to the understanding of the concept like we've been focusing on previously. So if you're more of the nuts and bolts kind of person, this video is for you. Also, this is going to be the last video that has the incredibly annoying audio issues, so just apologies. As soon as I'm done on this scene here, we're going to go to a scene of not so good audio, but this is the last time you're going to have to deal with it, so I love you.
What we see in this game is our Zergy McFerguson. What he's going to do is take his first few links that he was using against the Reaper anyway, he already had them, and he's going to harass his opponent. Because guess what? With the Triforce model, his opponent's investing in tech, and he's investing in getting a fairly decent economy at this state. It'll change around 5 to 6 minutes, as we've seen, but at this stage in the game, it's all about getting an established force. Now, even with the Terran doing all this, Satu's lost an Overlord just now that got knocked off the natural, and he's supply blocked. So he has twice the reason right now to be a little offensive. He's got to buy himself some time. Maybe try to force a mistake. And that's exactly what we're going to see happen. As the Terran's moving down here, the Lings are moving across the map. And the Terran's, of course, going to try and get a wall off here and zone this well. And, of course, there's the depot, but this is a fairly standard timing, nothing too late. These Lings just are not expected. This is not a very usual move. It's not a ton of Lings, but they do have Ling speed, and that's a lot. Normally, these Marines would just repel them, and that's that. What I like about what Satu does is he's going to use the same tactics that 211 uses, but he's going to use it against itself. So he knows he can't win the ground war. Same as the Marines can't win the ground war from 5 to 10 minutes. But he does have the ability to be annoying and get out. And that's what we're going to see here. So the wall off's still going to be setting up, and here's the thing. When these Marines load up into a medevac, there's nothing here to defend. So just keeping some of the Lings on this side of the map is going to stop the Terran from wanting to leave. Maybe delay the attack, or create an opportunity where it doesn't matter. We've already had one Marine die now. That's going to weaken this attack. It has to. Has to. And again, we're going to see this Terran make some key mistakes. It's all about this action right here initially. The army is weak. The supply depots being dropped left, right, and center. He doesn't really need this much supply right this moment. But guess what? He's making it. Because it's all about this moment. He's got to stay safe around 5 minutes. He can't let these Lings get in. He can't let anything happen to hurt his attack. So this is a really weird situation for Matteo, for the Terran. Stem pack's about to finish. Still, it's a weird situation. And this is a little bit early. This is 4 minutes and 48 seconds. He's missing some units. The tank is on the way. Like I said, it's kind of middle of the ground between the all-in and the super greedy play. This is somewhere in between. Siege tank's on the way, but missing some Marines, taking harassment damage, and already lost a Marine. Another Marine's in production, so he should have one more Marine in there, one more Marine coming out, and then hold off just long enough to pick up the siege tank and take it with him. That's really the style that Matteo is trying to do. This Ling harassment has either messed him up or made him go sooner than he wanted to. Either way, 4 Lings was able to do this much. I don't think I'm overstressing this point. Because watch this next little bit here. Lings come in, boom, hurting the depot. What is at the Terran base to defend this? We've got SCVs and mules over here. We've got one Marine, and that's it. That is it, guys. 211 gives up all map control of their own base in order to do this attack. So by identifying where all these weaknesses are, there's so many options as a Zerg player. You can harass, you can make some extra lings to just stay safe and play a greedy-ass macro game. You can respond in so many different ways. But what you can't do is treat this like a motherfucking 1-1-1. This is not a 1-1-1. Your opponent is not going for those higher utility, diverse utility tech units. Instead, the crux of his army are Marines. And guess what? Banelings are everything to those. Banelings will wreck. And what we're going to see is pretty crucial. Check these depots out. Again, just bruising it, pulling some of these SCVs off the line. Really just annoying the hell out of the Terran. But that wasn't the important part. The important part is Mateo had to change his strategy in order to deal with what the Zerg was throwing at him. I don't think he made the right choice here. I think he should have waited. But had he waited, the attack would have been delayed. The Zerg could have had more stuff, more creep spread to defend everything. The third would be better established. And that's just off the back of 4 lanes. So, here at 5 minutes, we've got really great creep spread. We've got a very well saturated 3 bases. And here's the drop, finally arriving, but getting an overload, cleaning up some creep. But look at the number of queens here. Look at the lings. He's already had the time he needed to prepare. It's all about the queens. Now, comparing this to Snow's response before, I prefer the amount of queens on something like this. This is an insane number of queens. Oh my god, guys. And then the lings are just there to buffer them, to keep the Marines from just charging in, stem packing one at a time and taking advantage of the fact that there's no transfuses. There is 1 or 2 transfuses here, but either way, the lings do the job of absorbing a lot of the damage, making the Marine micro a little bit harder. And right now we've got combat shields about a third of the way through, 2 engineering bays, some extra barracks being laid on, so he's getting ready for the next stage of his attack. Remember, this is only the first stage. The 5 to 6 minute part of this is not supposed to be non-stop. It's just a little hit, and then really the next few minutes is where the non-stop portion of this attack comes in. So he's got to keep a lot of these Marines alive, doing a great job with Stutter bleeding off some of these lings. Well, guess what? Those are lings going to be remade. He can't make quite as many drones, but he's still making an insane amount of drones right now. 2 more gases on the way. It's a pretty decent build so far for the Terran here. I'm going to pop up on screen, show you a little bit of what he's working on, what he could be working on. Guys, don't forget you can download this image that is displayed on screen with the build orders and everything. I'll put it in the diddly-do down below, description box. And again, dude, I just love this creep spread right now. And as you can see, Zerg is pretty much doing whatever he wants. He's going up to his lair now. He's got the 1-1 upgrades on the way. He's getting his 3rd, 4th gas already, 5th, 6th gas, boom. So that's 6 gas, 4th base, great creep spread, all the way down here, all the way down here, connecting here to his 4th base. Like, 2-1-1 just leaves the Zerg alone for so long, that first 5 minutes, that the Zerg is able to establish himself really well, especially if he just makes a few extra units. Don't be as greedy as you could have been against a 1-1-1. Because the 2-1-1 doesn't have the same late game potential. So why go for a super late game if it increases your chances of dying, even let's just say 10%, when you could still win the game and have a higher chance of winning by just making a few less workers. It's a little antithetical to the drone mentality that Idra and Rhett drilled into us Zergies so long ago, but I really think there's a case to be made here against 2-1-1. Now, 2-1-1, running up this ramp, a nice scan to see what's up there. He's going to clean up some of the creep spread as well. However, where does he retreat to? This is a great attack path up if he's got a pivot unit behind him, but there's nothing here. There's no tank, there's no Widowmine. So what you're going to see is really the biggest danger of attacking forward without having a pivot point. And this is going to be the moment where the non-stop aggression should be starting, but will not be able to. So we've got the Lings coming in here. Queen melting to a stem pack there. Really strong attack here by the Marines, but they are getting weakened by using a lot of stem packs. Good transfuses. Banelings completing, and they're on creep. Well, the creep is receding, but where does the Terran run to? He doesn't have a pivot. So the attack is pretty much crushed, and he realizes that. And he's going to get chased right on back home. He's going to park here in the middle of the map in a typical Terran fashion. And what we're seeing now is the 2-2 upgrades. We've got a extra hatchery on the way. And here's the thing. Mattia is going to continue this attack because he knows he has to. That's just the way 2-1-1 works. But look at how much more he's going to lose in these attacks like this. Also, worth noting, pretty good play here. But had he had a pivot unit, he could just park it, use these to defend it, while threatening to push forward on the creep. And that'll keep the main army occupied in this area, while this does the damage up here, wherever he wants. But no pivot unit. No pivot unit. He did get a tank earlier, but decided not to utilize it for whatever reason. And again, it's just positional warfare. You see him trying to like park down here, bait up here. That's kind of trying to simulate some kind of pivot unit, but it's just not effective. It should not be the crux of your strategy. And here we go. Lings, Banelings, there's a lot of them. It's all on creep. So there's the pickup. Cannot win the ground war. Knows he cannot win the ground war. Can't engage the queens either. So now he's going to go back home. And again, 8 minutes in, almost 9 minutes in, and not really the non-stop aggression we've been looking for. There was a drop over here, so let's back this up so I can show it to you. I just want to show you one section at a time. See how well this works out for the Terran. How much better it could have worked out with a pivot. Lings, boom. That wasn't even a lot of Lings. And this is getting knocked back. There's the Lings again, boom. Not even, well, that is a lot of Lings, I'm not going to lie. But the medevac falls. That was the big pickup. Remember earlier, we talked about how important it is to have your queens targeting the medevacs because it puts a clock on this type of harassment. And that's exactly what this is doing. Baneling speed just completing. This is huge. Now we got the infestation pit about halfway done. This looks like it's going to be that 10-minute hive that is oh so scary for the Terran. Now, Terran finally has pivot units, but it's taking him a long time to get them. Baneling speed plus creep spread. It's not going to be the best situation. However, there's 6 Widow Mines, 41 Marines, 11 medevacs, 51 SCVs to 81 drones. There's a lot more economy here for the Zerg. Maybe he's over-droned. This could be bad. So 58 Lings, 13 Banelings, 7 Queens. Will this be enough of a pivot unit? Are Widow Mines good enough? And are these too late? It's kind of hard to separate the two questions, but let's just see how this works out for him. Rolling. I love Banelings, guys. They're like the most amazing unit ever. And there we go. Lings, Banelings, we're rolling in here. Not the best pivot unit, but there we go. First Widow Mine procs. Boom! Melt some of the Lings, melt some of his own Marines too. And there's another 2 procs, but those were really bad procs. He should have been targeting those and maybe could have got something up here, but still wouldn't have killed everything. Queens would still be coming in here to clean up. Just not the best situation for the Terran. And here we go. There's the hive, guys. I don't need to explain to you what Ultralisks do. So I guess now the question becomes, what should a Zerg really be looking at when playing against Terran? How should you identify what these are? It really comes down to the gas, the worker count, and the add-ons. Keep an eye on those. Keep an eye on exactly what your opponent's doing, particularly between 3.5 and 5 minutes. Do a little bit of harassment. Between 5 and 6 minutes, go ahead and sacrifice that Overlord. And then between 6 and 8 minutes, just make lanes, have your defenses ready, make unstoppable amounts of queens, non-stop up to this point. Continue doing it. Make sure you can control your queens. Make sure you've got your units pretty spread out, because it's not going to be a huge mass of units that repels your opponent. It's going to be a decent number of units, enough in multiple locations. And then from there, your goal is to just minimize the amount of damage, replace the drones you do lose, and get your technology basically to hive tech. You see that mutas definitely have their place in this matchup. I myself am a huge Mutalist fan. The Spire is about to finish here at 9 minutes. That's a pretty standard timing Spire, especially if you do a 3-base or 4-base Spire. But he's still able to get high. The reason for that is because his opponent has done two things. He went a build that has no late game. Okay? Just doesn't happen. So when like the 111 would be doing its first major attack between like 10 and 12 minutes, that's kind of the wrap-up time for 211. So if you haven't done damage from the 5 to 10 minute mark, and huge amounts of it, it's over for you. You've lost the game. Yeah, you can probably work your way back into it, but at that moment right there, and all we care about right now is openers, you lost. And please, down at the bottom in the diddly-do, click the link, download that image. You can definitely use these images to make your games better. Hopefully the Triforce model made a lot of sense to you guys, and if you like this video and want to see more content like this, please hit subscribe. And I know it's been a little sporadic, but when I make really detailed videos like this, let me tell you this, I put over 20 hours into making that image, collecting the data for it, photoshopping it, getting it all perfect. And that's just for the image. That's not counting the recording. That's not counting getting my studio ready. That's not counting moving the furniture around. That's not counting editing the video or publishing the video or annotating the video or making the thumbnail or any of the other things that go into making a video. So if you want to reward like all the hard work I put into these, and you want to see more of these more often, maybe I'll be able to hire an editor or a graphics designer or something along those lines. Please donate on Patreon. I'm Shaft of Polygon Gaming, formerly Clanny Casting Crew, signing out. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. Bye-bye.